Hi, my name is Scott Kirk, and I'd like to welcome you to 5-Minute Mentor. Last week, I shared with you that each of us need 3 people in our life. First, we need a mentor. A mentor is someone who has been where we want to go and is willing to help us get there. A mentor will ignite our passion. Secondly, we need someone to mentor. Someone in whom we can invest our lives. And as we do that, the person we mentor will catch our passion. And finally, we need a team, a person or a group who will do life with us. A team shares our passion. Now, there are a number of things we receive as a blessing when God gives us a mentor. Number one of which I believe is that a mentor empowers us so that we can discover God's plan for our life. A mentor will help us discover who it is that God wants us to become. They help us discover our purpose. In Acts chapter 16, we find how Paul does that for Timothy. It says that Paul came to Derbe and Lystra, and while he was there, he found a disciple named Timothy. It was his desire to have Timothy go with him on the journey. And so he invited him to the cities, and as they went to the cities, they delivered to the people there the decrees to keep, which were determined by the apostles and the elders at Jerusalem. So the church was strengthened in the faith and increased in number daily. Paul, the mentor, found Timothy and invited Timothy to join him. Paul knew that God had a call in Timothy's life. Timothy was young and he needed someone like Paul who would pour his life into him. By being with Paul, Timothy was empowered. Literally, God poured power into Timothy's life. It wasn't Paul's power, but it was God's power given to Timothy through Paul. He received God's power by Paul mentoring him and investing his life in him. A mentor is an incredible gift. Without Paul, Timothy might not have discovered his life purpose. Now, he could have had a good life and a happy life, but he might not have discovered what God's passion, what God's purpose, what God's mission was for him. That's what a mentor does. A mentor is a brain to pick, an ear to listen to, and a push in the right direction. I'm so thankful that I had someone like that in my life, someone who mentored me. When I was 19 years old, I was going to junior college and just kind of cruising through life, having a great time. And then God brought someone in my life who allowed me to discover my purpose, my calling. This man's name was Gary Tassone. Gary became a mentor to me. He was a youth pastor in our church, and one day he called me and said, "Hey, Scott, can you come and help on Wednesday night? We have a youth group event, and we just need another hand. Would you be willing to come?" And I thought, well, how scary can a group of 12-year-olds be? And so I showed up, and I actually had a good time. And when the night was over, I went to dinner with Gary and the entire youth leadership team. Lots of laughter was had. A couple weeks later, Gary invited me to lunch, and as I came to lunch, it was Gary and the youth leaders team, and we just had another great afternoon. By the end of the month, Gary asked me if I would consider being a part of the official youth leadership team. I figured that commitment would mean that I would have to show up on Wednesday night, hang out with junior hires, and maybe lead a Bible study. And I thought, I've got time. I can do that. One Tuesday night, a few weeks later, Gary called me. It was right late in the evening on Tuesday. He said, "Hey, Scott, I need a hand here. Tomorrow night, I need someone who will lead the dodgeball game. Could you do that for our youth group?" And I thought, that sounds pretty easy. You take a ball, you throw it at a kid. I can do it. And so I became the dodgeball leader, king of the world. And I didn't see what Gary was doing. He was taking me through a process that would allow me to discover God's purpose in my life. If he would have asked me 2 months before, "Hey, would you consider becoming a junior high leader?" I would have said, "No way, I can't do that." But he brought me through a process, and I discovered that I liked it. I loved seeing junior hires have fun. I loved seeing them discover Jesus. So one day at lunch, Gary passed a book across the table and he said, "Scott, here's a great book. You really ought to read this. In fact, if you'd like to, we could meet once a week and talk about the book. And as you discover new things, we can kind of talk about those things together." Gary was mentoring me. He was igniting my passion and empowering me so that I might be able to discover God's purpose, God's calling in my life. That's what a mentor does. So let me end our time together by asking you two questions. Is there someone who's been a mentor in your life? Has someone empowered you in such a way that you were able to discover God's purpose in your life? Today would be a great day to pick up the phone and make a call or send a letter. I know Gary deserves a letter today. Secondly, would you like a mentor? Today would be a great day to spend some time with God and let Him know that you need someone to help you discover your purpose in life. Someone who would mentor you, someone who's been where you want to go and is willing to help you get there, who will ignite your passion and allow you to discover God's plan for you. God has great plans. Look forward to seeing you next week for 5-Minute Mentor as we continue to talk about the power of having a mentor, of being a mentor, and having a team to do life with. We'll see you next week. God bless you.